The funny thing about this video is you guys are going to be seeing it sometime in late August, which is funny because I'm recording this at the end of June, basically. June 24th, I think today is. And I find it funny because by the time this video actually reaches y'all's eyes, I will have been knee-deep into my new job. And don't worry, I will yap about my new job in August. I plan on making a video on my birthday as like a little life update kind of thing. Because at the end of the day, while I do enjoy these long extended breaks from YouTube, there'll always be times where I'll want to come back and make one or two videos. Because making videos just is fun in general. But unfortunately, I just don't have that time. Today is like one of the very few days during the work week where I have like a little bit of spare time before I have to like actually go to bed, like in between doing the dishes and my laundry and cooking myself supper and stuff like that. You know, I have a lot of chores that I have to take care of on top of working like a 50 to 60 hour a week job. And then like on top of trying to like write a book and enjoy my free time. So this is just one of those rare days. And the other thing about this video is that this was originally going to be a big extravagant video. I've actually had this video in my mind for honestly like almost 2 years, I think. Is that accurate? Yeah, I would say almost 2 years I've had this video in my mind. And I had always planned it to be like the big extravaganza video, the finale of my DBD content. But as we've all learned by this point, I'm incredibly indecisive, and this will probably not be my last DBD video. It might be the last for a while. It might be the last for a few years. But eventually, something in Dead by Daylight is going to come along that I'm going to feel like is worth talking about, and I'm going to do. With that in mind, this will be one of my only DBD videos, I think actually my only DBD video in general, that does not have background footage. You'll notice by this point of the video, it has not like kind of teetered off to the side and there's some random gameplay, and that's because as of right now, Dead by Daylight is uninstalled, and it's been uninstalled since about a week before Springtrap's released, and the reason for that is because the game just wasn't fun, and I was not going to force myself to play something that I didn't find fun just because a new killer came in, right? Because at the end of the day, the cause of DBD not being fun has always been the player base. A lot of people like to pretend that the reason DBD isn't fun is because of some inherent flaws with the game. And there are things about the game that need to be fixed. Also, I'm sorry that you guys don't get a kitty tax today. I tried to get Baxter to stay on the bed. He didn't want to. He wanted to be in the living room, and you can't get that cat to do what you want. He does what he wants when he wants to do it. So I greatly apologize, but maybe editing me can throw up like a Instagram picture of him or something. Follow my Instagram for cat photos. In any case, this video, as you might have realized when you clicked on it, is about the entitlement of the DBD community. Like I was saying, there's not inherent flaws in the game that make it unfun. There are some stuff that is unfun in the game that does need to be fixed, but at the end of the day, all of those things are like on the bottom of the list, because the very tippy top of the list, the very, what's the word I'm looking for? Grandiose reason, that's not it, but that's what I'm going with, that this game isn't fun is always going to be the community, and not necessarily how the community plays the game, but how the community reacts to the game that's being played. Even if we take out like Reddit and Twitter and all of that, which you really shouldn't. I don't like when people say you should. Because if you're going to exist on online spaces, you're more than likely going to come across the DBD community. But even if you take out all of that and you take out like voice chat, people who play this game love to do things that they know will piss the other side off. And the reason they do that is because Dead by Daylight's community is the most entitled gaming community I've ever come across. And when I say ever, I mean in the history of me playing games and being in fandoms and being in communities, Dead by Daylight has the single most entitled community that I've ever come across. This is the only community in the entirety of gaming that will actively tell the opposite side to cripple themselves so that they can have a better time. This is the only player versus player game where people are expecting the other players to throw their game in order to let the other side win. I saw this post on Reddit, I'll see if I can dig it up, where apparently Spook and Jukes tweeted, I don't go on Twitter anymore, so I don't know, but Spook and Jukes tweeted, and he said, "It's funny watching all the new players who came from Springtrap slowly start to see how the community has a rule book for the opposite side. And we're all familiar with the rule books, right? Don't run these certain perks, don't use these certain strategies, don't do this, don't do that." And there was a reply to this tweet that was probably one of the worst takes I've seen in this game, since I saw somebody with the take that they should remove scratch marks because it makes it too easy for the killer to track the survivor. This person said, if multiple people have to come up with rules in order to make your game fun, then it is a fundamentally flawed game. And then they went off to do like some kind of dumb balancing take that was like, oh, gens should be repaired 2 times faster when someone's on the hook, which I'm not going to dignify that with a response, but let's talk about the first part because that's the more interesting part to me. I do not agree that the community coming up with rules in order to make the game more fun is means that the game is fundamentally flawed. What I do think it means is that for the longest time, there has been this vicious cycle of new players coming in, facing strategies they don't particularly like, talking about those strategies on Reddit, Twitter, TikTok, what have you, and then having veteran players come in and be like, yeah, bro, tunneling is toxic, face camping is toxic, slugging is toxic, gen rushing is toxic, 99ing gates is toxic, body blocking is toxic, right? They throw the word toxic around like it's a fucking comma. And the problem with that is that none of these strategies are inherently toxic. Now, I've talked at length in the past about all the different ways that you can be toxic in this game, and none of them have anything to do with strategic ways to play this game. There are annoying strategies. Don't get me wrong, I will forever say that the boil over on the top ropes of a map with breakdown to avoid being hooked at all is one of the most frustrating, boring, uninteractive things to play against. Quad slowdown is boring and unfun and uninteractive to play against. Back when fucking Overbrine Eruption was a problem, that was unfun and unengaging to play against. But are any of these things inherently toxic? No. When it comes to baseline, more generalized strategies, body blocking for your teammates, doing the gens, the objective as fast as possible, tunneling, camping, slugging, are any of these inherently toxic? The answer is no. The answer is no, they are not. Can you do these things in a toxic way? Some of them, yeah, but not generally speaking. And that's the problem that I have with this community is there's this vicious cycle of people who invented, I'm telling you, this all started probably back in like 2017. I wasn't playing back then, but I've talked to enough veterans. I'm friends with a veteran player who's been playing since the beta, Pally GG. I've even made a video with him about it, where we talked about how this stuff started early on. Like back in the day when everyone was on like one server, there was apparently this kind of honor code system that you wouldn't play in a specific way. But as the game evolved, of course you're going to play in these specific ways that help you win, because why wouldn't you? It's like pulling up to a TCG and asking your opponent who plays control to not play control because you don't like it. And if they do play control, then they're an inherently toxic individual that shouldn't be playing the game. And then you start coming up with all these cards that they shouldn't be playing even though those cards are legal. It sounds fucking stupid, doesn't it? It sounds absolutely asinine when you put it in any other context, and yet for some reason within Dead by Daylight it has been normalized to actively ask your opponent to not play as effectively as they can so that you can have a quote better time. And the big excuse, the massive excuse has been, well, it's a party game, bro. And I just hate to tell y'all that there's no such thing as a party game that is PvP. Are some PvP games more casual than others? Absolutely. But every single party game on the planet has developed a meta and has people who are going to play their hardest. Mario Party has a meta. There's actually, like in certain Mario Party games, there are people who pick specific characters due to like frame skipping animation so they can do things faster. It's wild, dude. If you ever have the opportunity to look at some truly wild shit, see if you can find the Mario Party meta. I found it like 3 or 4 years back, buried deep into some like Reddit threads and stuff, but it actually gets kind of fucking stupid how absolute serious a lot of people take the game. So you can't inherently I thought I was gonna sneeze. You cannot inherently create a non-competitive game that is PvP. It's not possible. There are people who are going to play the PvP more casually, but unfortunately, because of the nature of Dead by Daylight only having one major queue, with event queues being happening whenever events come around, one queue means that unfortunately you're gonna be a casual player playing against sweaty players. And that's part of the reason that I stopped playing Dead by Daylight, because if I was in the mood for a chill out match, I might have ran into someone who was playing sweaty, and I can't blame them for that. They're wanting to play to win the game. Why would I get mad at them for that? What I am upset about is that I can't pick a mode where people are supposed to be casual and play casually. But that's a different conversation. The point is that these people who constantly want you to throw the game in order for it to be more fun to them, these people don't care about like a casual and competitive mode. Because I can guarantee you that these same people would go into a competitive mode and then complain it's not casual enough. Or they would queue the casual mode, and the second they play against anybody who's playing like even remotely more serious than a toddler with their monitor turned off, they will start complaining and bitching, because there has been this cycle of entitlement that has run its course through the DBD community. And I don't think that this will ever go away as long as Dead by Daylight exists as a concept. As long as it is a video game, and as long as there's only one queue, it is always going to be a thing. And again, I don't think that splitting the queues will inherently solve the issue. I think it'll lessen it, but there's always going to be these people that expect the other side to play in such a way that allows for their maximum fun. And I think that you should always play with other people in mind, because at the end of the day, you should not be selfish enough to think that only your fun matters. But on the opposite side, I think it is absolutely ludicrous to expect people to not play as efficiently as possible just so you yourself can have fun. There's a balance there and a nuanced conversation that a lot of the community is simply not ready for, and that's because they're all too busy shoving their heads up their own asses. That's all I really have for you guys. I was just, like I said, I had to spare like 25-30 minutes before I had to do some other stuff related to my job, and I just wanted to open up my camera and talk at you for a bit. If you guys haven't noticed, all the videos that you've seen up to this point have been old videos that were uploaded onto 2 different channels that no longer exist, and that was just for the purposes of consolidating my channels. And that was just for the purposes of consolidating my channels so that if I ever did come back to YouTube, I'd only have 2 channels to work with. For a very, very long time, I have regretted having 4 different channels. I had this addiction to trying to game the algorithm, and now that I don't need the algorithm, I think 2 channels is more than enough. And honestly, there's a part of me that kind of wants to go down to 1 channel so that I'm only ever using the one that's monetized. But at the same time, I do like the idea of a separate, smaller channel that is just kind of there for like non-discussion based content. So yeah, other than that, I hope you guys have been having a fantastic few months. Like I said, you've probably seen me more recently in my birthday video by the time this video actually comes out, so I'll probably say much of the same stuff there, that I hope you guys are doing okay, and I just want you to know I'm doing okay. I'm only 3 weeks into my current job, and I've already made $3,500. Like, when we're talking this job is good money. It's good money. I have to put in a lot of work to do it. I'm an insurance agent, so I have to like drive out to faraway cities so that I can prospect, you know, try to hit businesses that haven't been talked to before. So sometimes that involves me driving like 4 hours. And then 4 hours back home, so I'm not getting home till like 9 p.m. That's where a lot of the time constraint comes from. But I do really think that the work that I put in is worth it. Not only am I able to help people by providing cheap, cost-efficient benefits to people that can actually help those who don't have a lot of money to have benefits, but I'm also making enough money doing it to achieve my dreams. So if you've been wondering about that and you didn't watch the birthday video, I am doing good. And I am much happier. I really am. So, I don't think that's going to change by the time you see this video, but as of right now, I love my job. It's tiring, but it's rewarding. And, yeah. Anyway, love you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. And, I'll see you the next time I feel like making a video. Whenever that is. Bye.